我觉得 President Buckley 的想法就是 it's inevitable that countries will adopt Bitcoin as legal tender. So if it is inevitable, 如果是迟早的事情，那他们最好是第一个，所以他们就先往前跑。It's always going to be early adopters that adopt first, right? The mass of the population will come later. Bitcoin is simply just money. And I think this lesson is getting more and more evident because if you look at the war in Ukraine and all the sanctions that are being enforced, you see that the foreign currency reserve system is basically over. So Russia had foreign currency reserves in a number of countries, and they just said, okay, because you're sanctioned now, that's our money. It's gone. So 你的钱就没了. I've seen behind the scenes, right? Like behind the stage. So 我们可能15年还是16年忘了。Vitalik 跟他团队也到了比特币中国，跟我们说我们要开发 Ethereum and we're going to launch it and then 你能不能上这个币在你交易所 So if you've seen behind the curtain, 如果你看到那些团队那些人到你办公室说 we have to make this project, you know it's not decentralized, right?
Hello， 大家好，我是脑哥。今天呢，我们再度邀请到一位国际级的这个加密货币的 OG 啊 ，Samson Mow 来到我们的这个访谈会议室。Hello Samson， 很高兴你能来。
Thank you very much 很高兴到你的平台。
那很多人可能不知道 Samson， 他不但是一个 Crypto OG， 而且他在过去曾经参与了很多非常大型、很重要的 Crypto 项目，还包含了一个国家级的项目。Samson 可以简单跟观众介绍一下关于你的背景，还有你在加密货币领域参与过的事情吗？
本来我是做游戏的，所以我有一家游戏公司叫 Pixmatic， 我们在开发一个 MMO 游戏叫 Infinite Fleet。我也加入了比特币中国，是一个很老的一家中国交易所。然后我在比特币中国就是 COO， 然后我管的业务就是矿池跟交易所。过了几年我就加入了 Blockstream 就是一个 Bitcoin infrastructure company， 就是专门做比特币 protocol level 的东西，还有闪电网。然后在 Blockstream 待了5年，我就出来了，创建了 Jan3 是一个比特币科技公司，然后我们的 focus 是 mass adoption， 就是让全世界用比特币，所以我们会推一个钱包叫 Aqua。其实 Aqua 是之前在 Blockstream 开发的，然后我就带过来新公司，然后做一些优化。
我每次遇到一个 Bitcoin OG 的时候，我第一个想要问的问题就是，尤其是像现在的市场，这个好像有点 bear market 的情绪，想要问说 Samson， 你对现在的市场情绪你怎么看？可能已经接近底部了吗？还是还会继续往下走？
我觉得应该已经到底了。我觉得 it's already under the 200-week moving average. So basically the 4-year moving average. So 应该不能再低下来。我们上个周末我们有跌到17000 ，but 这个是特殊情况，因为有好多公司在做 liquidation。There is a Bitcoin ETF in Canada called BTCC， 就跟比特币中国名字一样，但是他们在泡币，好像泡了好几万个币，因为是周末那个 liquidity 不够，那个比特币市场就顶不住，那我们就跌了。但是你看到我们很快就恢复到2万多。So I think 20,000 should be the bottom, and we might stick around 20 to 30,000 because of all the algorithmic stablecoins and all the companies that have problems with loans that they're defaulting on. They're all having problems now, so they're forced to sell. That's kind of why we're at where I've been a Bitcoin bull since I got into Bitcoin. And I think if you are a bull and you're patient, 那就没问题，你可以熬过去这个熊市。Bitcoin has to decouple from a lot of things right now. It has to decouple from the altcoin market, and it has to decouple from the stock market, right? We're tracking the equities market pretty tightly because there's a lot of Wall Street money in Bitcoin, and that Wall Street money thinks that Bitcoin is tech stock like Google or Amazon or whatever, but Bitcoin is not. Bitcoin is a decentralized money. And also Bitcoin has to stop tracking with altcoins because Bitcoin is not an altcoin. It is actually decentralized, and everything else is just basically an unregistered or unlicensed security, right? There's a company, there's a team behind it trying to make some money. and they pretend to be decentralized, but they're not. Bitcoin has to break away from all of these things, and I think it has to break away in the next 6 months to a year. And Bitcoin is designed to break away. If you track Bitcoin's performance on a log scale against the stock market, it's really a line up into, it's just for some time, it might track that, but we'll break away from that sooner or later.
所以对你来说，比特币和其他的加密货币还是有一定的差别，他们的定位上是不同的，即使大家都认为这就是 crypto，
是完全不一样的。很多 crypto 他们会在 Switzerland 建立一个 foundation， 然后就说我们是去中心化。But it's the same people， 那个开发团队就控制那个 Swiss foundation，so it's still controlled by a small group of people。And 所有决定也是他们的决定 ，right? Like take Terra Luna, it's not decentralized, right? 他们有那个 LFG Luna Foundation Guard， 你就是有一个团队来管这个 peg， 如果那个 peg 开始掉，他们就拿一些钱去补。But that's not decentralized at all, right? It's just like the Federal Reserve， 就是有一个团队来管这个经济。
很多关于你的资料是你在萨尔瓦多 El Salvador 的关于 crypto 比特币的建设上也有蛮多的出力，可以简单介绍一下这个部分。
Okay, so in El Salvador, my main focus was helping them with the Bitcoin law. So as you know, they made Bitcoin legal tender. My friend Jack Mallers introduced me to the President Bukele and his team, and then we started working together, talking about Bitcoin technology, about cold storage and Bitcoin security. And somewhere along the way, we proposed to them to do a Bitcoin bond. So this is a way to raise capital to undertake nation building. And the plan for the first Bitcoin bond was to invest in Bitcoin mining and energy infrastructure. So it would be a $1 billion bond with half invested into geothermal plants and half invested into Bitcoin. And after 5 years, the Bitcoin will be unlocked and started to be sold off. And the proceeds from that are called the Bitcoin dividend. So the bond has a coupon of 6.5%, but after 5 years, there will be a Bitcoin bonus, an extra dividend from Bitcoin proceeds being sold after they recouped the first 500 million. So it's a very novel instrument, and I think it's the first of its kind once it's launched. But right now, we're waiting for the new laws to be passed to allow them to issue the Bitcoin bonds.
所以 Bitcoin bond 还没有真的 issue 出来。
还没有，我们在等那个新的 law。
了解，所以这个 bond 会有50%在绿能的电力上，就地热嘛，然后50%在比特币投资。That's very cool。现在对外人来说，可能都是一些专有名词，像包括比特币现在变成一个 legal tender， 其实在中文我们就直接翻叫做法币了。现在萨尔瓦多还要做所谓的比特币城 Bitcoin City， 可以跟我们多聊一些包括建设的过程啊，或者是现在的情况。
现在他们就是有很多困难，因为前几个月他们有一些 gang violence， 所以他们整个国家的 focus 就是 control the violence。他们抓了很多人，放他们在 prison。And I think now the focus is going back to the economy。他们要再看一下经济，新的法律要给到他们的 Congress and then pass， 包括移民的法律。Bitcoin City 应该也包括在这个里面。So they have to pass the laws to create the new city with the special. It's basically a special economic region. 就像香港 a special area with its own economic code, right? So zero tax on everything. But yeah, like Bitcoin City, 比特币城, I don't think they've started building it yet. We've seen some models. We've seen some pictures of what it would look like potentially, but I don't think that's the most important thing. The most important thing is that it is a special economic region. So you can build your company there, you can set up your entity there and reap all the benefits that come with Bitcoin City. But the Bitcoin law, all the things they're doing with Bitcoin have benefited El Salvador a lot. Their tourism is up a couple 100%. And their GDP is double digits as well. There's a lot of people going to El Salvador and taking a look and seeing if they want to move there or domicile their business there now.
如果我手上有比特币，我现在去萨尔瓦多旅游，我是不是应该先下载什么 APP 才可以在那边用比特币消费？
某一个闪电网络钱包都可以的。So
这么方便。
Yeah, 你就选一个 Blue Wallet, Moon Wallet, anything will work in El Salvador. But it's not everywhere. 在城市里面可能有一些 business 会有 Chivo， 然后他们可以收 Bitcoin payment。Bitcoin Beach 也有很多 项目也接受比特币 ，but it's not like every single shop has it, but it's going to take some time before everyone starts to accept Bitcoin.
因为比特币是随时会浮动的嘛，那它算那个价钱是怎么算？
按照市场价格 ，a lot of merchants also use Chivo 是国家做的钱包，然后 Chivo 你收到比特币之后，你可以直接换成美金 ，so 他们可以 lock in 这个 US dollar price，so 对他们来说是无所谓的，你付比特币，他们还是拿到美金。
了解，所以现在比特币的 adoption 在萨尔瓦多来说，美元去对他们的经济的控制太重，所以萨尔瓦多一方面是想要有一个去中心化的资产，可以作为他们的 legal tender。
我觉得 President Buckley 的想法就是 it's inevitable that countries will adopt Bitcoin as legal tender. So if it is inevitable， 如果是迟早的事情，那他们最好是第一个，所以他们就先往前跑。因为之前他们有那个 colon， 可能那个央行管得不好，所以有很多问题，所以他们就换成用美金，觉得用美国的钱会比用自己的好，会比较稳定。他们就用了美金一段时间，然后后来就换成比特币。因为用美金有一个问题，如果美国在耍钱，在 printing money， 那萨尔瓦多人赚的钱没有那么多 ，right？ 他们的 purchasing power 会往下降 ，and then 他们也没有什么好处。At least in the U.S. when they're printing money, they're building infrastructure, right? Or they're airdropping money to people, right? Giving them $1,200, or building a bridge or building a road. There's some benefit to the money printing in the U.S., but in El Salvador, there's no benefit, right? All you have is erosion of your purchasing power. So I think it makes sense for them to use Bitcoin, right? One, you reduce the friction. So 如果你在美国工作，你要打钱回家 then you can use Bitcoin. You don't have to use Western Union or all the different companies that send money and charge you a few percentage points on the fee. You just pay the Bitcoin fee, which is 10, 20 cents, right? If you lowball the fee. Or you can even use Lightning, right? What's it cost to transact? Lightning is free. It's almost free and it's instantaneous. So it lets you use Bitcoin as money.
听过很多的 rumor 说，其实，在萨尔瓦多的citizens， 他们其实不太真的使用 Bitcoin 在日常生活中。有另一个 critic 是说，萨尔瓦多的比特币采用非常的不够去中心化。事实是这样子吗？
Well， 我觉得那个国家很大 ，right? There's 6 million people. 如果你要 everybody like 6 million people 都用比特币，这个要一点时间的。It's always going to be early adopters that adopt first, right? The mass of the population will come later. The criticism 就是用比特币是太中心化，可能有一点道理，因为 Chivo 是个政府开发的钱包，就是中性的钱包 ，right？ 不是每个人有他们的私钥在他们的自己的钱包里面。So that can be improved, but I think the goal of Chivo is that they want everyone to be able to convert money easily, right? To be able to go to US dollars, and they're not charging anyone fees on the conversion. So it's a way to help the people. So I think you can look at it two ways. Like one way is that it's bad because it's a centralized service. The other way is it's a good thing because it's a free service for people to. I don't think there's any illusion. Dollars are still used more in El Salvador than Bitcoin, but we're only 1 year into the 1 year plus into the Bitcoin legal tender, and it's going to take some time.
我觉得非常有道理。大家真的很着急，因为再怎么样，这个也真的是1年不到的一个政策。很多人会在我下面留言或者私讯质疑说，那个很多的交易所啊都是中心化的，但是你说 Bitcoin 是去中心化，那这个不是违背？那我也是跟他们说，因为 decentralization 这个东西对很多人来说还是太难了，所以我们需要一个介于去中心化跟中心化的桥梁，让大家可以比较容易的把法币换成 Bitcoin、Ethereum 这些币去 decentralized 的世界使用。会有早期的采用者，然后才会有 mass adoption。所以这个其实真的在萨尔瓦多是一个为全世界做一个试验吧，这样听起来的感觉。
中心化有中心化的好处。如果你是说交易所，你的 liquidity 更多 ，right? Because everyone is pooling together all the liquidity in the centralized platform. 其实比特币你可以用一些 P2P APP 来做交易的。你有选择，你不一定要用一个中心化的交易所，你可以做一个 P2P 或 OTC 交易，这个完全是可以的。如果你是做一个 P2P 交易，那你会有一些困难 ，right？ 因为你不能 trade at size，right？ 你没有一个 order book， 你要跟 每一个人对接，每一个人交换。So it's just more barriers, but it is possible to do it, right?
President Buckley 他认为，国家采用 Bitcoin 是一个迟早的事情。为什么会有这样子的信心，说国家一定早晚会采用这个一个新的货币
？Well， 现在我们不是有第二个国家嘛？我们有 Central Africa Republic 在非洲 ，right? There's Prospera in Honduras. It's a special economic zone in Honduras. They made Bitcoin legal tender, right? It's a small area, but it's a city that's adopting it. Then you have Lugano in Switzerland. They made Bitcoin de facto legal tender because in Switzerland there's no capital gains tax, so you can spend Bitcoin freely. So they don't need to change the law. They just say, we'll accept Bitcoin as payment for taxes, for government services. So it's almost like it was legal tender. And then Madeira in Portugal, they said they're working on adopting Bitcoin, but there's no tax also on Bitcoin in Madeira. So it's a effective legal tender too if you want to spend Bitcoin there. There's a lot of adoption happening. Obviously, nation state level where they enact a law is a bigger endorsement, right? More strong endorsement of Bitcoin if they enshrine it in law. It's inevitable because people need money and it comes down to necessity, right? Bitcoin is simply just money, and it is money that you can keep for yourself. And I think this lesson is getting more and more evident because if you look at the war in Ukraine and all the sanctions that are being enforced, you see that the foreign currency reserve system is basically over. So Russia had foreign currency reserves in a number of countries, and they just said, okay, because you're sanctioned now, that's our money. It's gone. So 你的钱就没了。那你有什么选择？你只能看黄金，或者你可以用比特币。黄金你也知道有很多困难，如果你要保护黄金，很多国家也不会保护自己的黄金，它会 outsource，right？So Venezuela 他们把他们自己黄金放在英国，好像几年前的事情，他们跟英国说 Bank of England 我们要拿回来我们的黄金 ，and then Bank of England says no, you can't have it, right? So I think the only choice is Bitcoin, right? So if you think about it by process of elimination, Bitcoin is the only money that you can easily self-custody and transact with. If you want to trade gold, then you have to move it physically, and the same problem and same systemic risk. So I think with the foreign currency reserves being destroyed, but it's inevitable. So you need a money that is not political, not controlled by any one country. So Bitcoin is the answer to that question.
像是美国、中国、日本，你认为他们也会有需要采用比特币的一天吗？还是就不会？因为很多人说，他们如果采用比特币，就是放弃了他们自己的铸币权。
我觉得迟早要放弃的，因为所有的法币他们都是按照 Modern Monetary Theory (MMT), right? So the whole model is printing. 法币国家的央行只有两个选择，一个是印快一点，还是印慢一点 ，but 还是要印钱的。如果他们停掉，那就是 recession or depression, right? You can slow the death, but you can't stop the death because fiat money is eventually going to become worthless just because they can keep making it, and they have to keep making it, or else everything stops working, right? 现在美国不是做了一个 rate hike, 75 BPS, right? So it's just 75 bips. It's already having massive implications for economic slowdown. Keep hiking it. I think if they want to control inflation, they're going to have to keep increasing the rates. And I don't think they can do that because then they'll kill their economy, right? Just like COVID, it killed a lot of economies. So I think the only way out of it is to switch to 就慢慢开始用比特币，可能同时有两个系统，一个系统是法币，是美金，另外一个系统是比特币。
了解比特币的这个当品的情况，它有对萨尔瓦多的经济啊，或者是人民对政府的信任有什么的影响吗？媒体都说萨尔瓦多比特币亏了很多钱这样子。
每一个熊市都有很多媒体说比特币死掉了，不会回来了。But we always come back every time. People will say, El Salvador lost money, etc., etc. But all the mainstream media only have a very short time horizon when they look at stuff, right? They look at it in days and weeks. They don't look at it on years, never. So I think as Bitcoiners, you have to just accept that. And when Bitcoin is down, you just let the media, let the no coiners dance and have fun. But in the end, we'll win.
你在 Jane 3，或者是你之前在 BTCC， 或者是在 El Salvador 看见的有趣的，或者是比较辛苦的，无论是受到社群的质疑啊，或者是 促成了什么东西，一些有趣的故事可以跟观众分享吗？
我有跟一些政府或者国家聊比特币，他们会说 we have to be open， 我们要很开放，我们要欢迎比特币，包括 crypto。我就跟他们说，其实你不用欢迎 crypto， 如果你要往这条路走，你就专门做比特币 ，focus on Bitcoin only，Bitcoin law or adopt Bitcoin 这种事情，那些 crypto 人自然会跑过来的，他们不会觉得丢脸，因为你不欢迎他们。你说你拒绝他们说 we're Bitcoin only， 他们也会去的。所以 El Salvador 可能很多人不知道，但所有的山寨币团队都去过 El Salvador， 想跟President Bukele 见个面，拍张照。Right? They have no shame, so they'll go. So that's the interesting thing, I think. Like countries think they need to be open, but you cannot be open to everything. I think it's very important because if you open the door, all the crypto projects, they're all going to blow up eventually, right? 就像 Terra Luna, right? 就是很多风险，我觉得 the safest thing to do is stay Bitcoin only.
OK， 你会说你是一个 Bitcoin Maxi 吗
？I don't know, maybe 很多人说我是 Bitcoin Maxi， 但其实我觉得我很 open 的，因为很多 Maxi 不喜欢稳定币，但是我觉得稳定币有好处，因为我以前在交易所工作过，所以我知道开银行账户非常非常的难。Right, 你的账号被冻结 ，right? 你要派人去解冻。Stablecoins solve a lot of problems. 你就用一个稳定币，千万不要用 algo stablecoin. But normal stablecoins I think is okay. 如果你可以自己创建一个币，那这个东西过几年会有价值吗？我觉得不会啊 ，right? 现在都有2万多个山寨币 ，because it's so easy. The cost to make a coin, to make a team is zero. Right? You just say 我跟5个朋友，我们创建一个币，这个币比特币好，或者比以太坊快。It's so easy to make that. That's why there's 20,000. But I think for me, I've seen behind the scenes, right? Like behind the stage. So 我们可能15年还是16年忘了。Vitalik 跟他团队也到了比特币中国，跟我们说我们要开发 Ethereum, and we're going to launch it, and then 你能不能上这个币在你交易所 ？So if you've seen behind the curtain， 如果你看到那些团队那些人到你办公室说 we have to make this project， you know it's not decentralized, right? Some guys trying to make some money. So 你看完 if after you see behind the scenes， like 你到了厨房看他们怎么做这个菜，你肯定不会吃。Right?
以你的角度，如果跟我们这些所谓的新手观众，给他们一些建议啊，或者是给他们一些在现在这个市场该怎么样去接受资讯，你会给他们怎么样的建议？
就买比特币，不要碰其他东西。
Easy answer 。
Yeah， 很多人他们新进来的时候就觉得like there's so many different things， 有很多选择，我可以买这个，我投这个项目。They want to get alpha, get insight, like which they want to make a lot of money really fast, and I think that's a very bad attitude. 那你就去赌场了 ，right? At least it's more fair. But you'll never make as much money as the people making the projects. Whoever 谁创建这个项目是谁赚钱的，你就是韭菜 ，right? But I think greed is a very powerful thing, right? 很多人就想一下赚很多钱，然后他们就看不到这个东西是什么东西。Everyone that tried to make money quickly from Terra Luna, from UST, they lost all of their money. Even people that didn't think that they're taking any risks, or they want to lend their crypto, right? Like they use Celsius or BlockFi or any lending platform, 那些借贷的平台，他们也现在取不了钱出来啊 ，right? So if you're greedy, it comes back. Maybe you'll make some money, but it's more likely you'll lose it because once you're making money, you want to double down, right?
真的很重要的提醒。好，以上就是今天我跟 Samson 的对话，非常精彩的，因为其实很难有机会可以跟站在这样子高度的人对谈，那发现他们看的东西反而是我们原本其实大家都知道最底层，包括你要有长期的 long term view， 包括你要控制你自己的贪心，你的 greedy 的程度不能太高，然后你如果去每天都想要这100倍10倍的收益，还不如你就乖乖的抱着 Bitcoin。感谢你 Samson 今天能够上我们的节目，那就
谢谢老哥，
今天就到这边，谢谢大家，拜拜。
拜拜。
如果你想投资加密货币却还没有账号，可以使用底下的币安连结注册。币安是全球最大的加密货币交易所，用底下的连结还可以享有交易手续费20%的返现。如果你想要量化交易、聪明投资，可以使用底下的派网连结。 派网是币圈知名的量化投资交易所，一样使用推荐连结可以享有20%的手续费折扣。